Hello, friends. Samuel Graham. Not really doing TCGs today. So, funny thing happens sometimes when I'd had a couple things that I recorded a ways back, sort of as eh, I've got a bunch of cool stuff coming up, but I'll keep these in the back pocket if I ever just kind of need a breather, need a filler kind of thing. And had one of those situations where went to look at one of those and the audio was all out of whack. Well, that's annoying. So I'm like, okay, well, this one won't fiddle with. Let's look at the other one. Take a guess. Same story. So that was kind of an annoying start to. I was like sitting down, we'll just get one of these in, throw it in there, and go with it. Not so much. So honestly, I actually recorded another one, just kind of as might as well do this. I'll just talk through some TCG stuff while I open one of my favorite throwback TCGs. Won't even really talk about that TCG, just have something other than me for people to look at while I'm talking, talking about Legions, talking about with getting to do the spoiler reveal, talking about Genesis, kind of getting into that, talking about Flesh and Blood with their big release, talking about Magic with their weird Commander Legends 2, the Baldur's Gate release that is seeming underwhelming, but a Modern Horizons, uh, I guess Modern Horizons 2 still, has some stuff popping back up, but also just the double masters is what I was actually meaning. Um, the double masters coming in a couple weeks. I guess next week now, not even a couple weeks. Just talking about all that while I was going at it. And then I finished it. I hit record, or I hit, stop recording, I guess as the case would actually be. And I just wasn't feeling it. Like, to the degree that I was just like, you know what? I didn't enjoy that at all. Just deleted it immediately. Um, Not in a bad place, like, ugh, this is the worst. I do bad work, whatever the case may be. Like, I just did it and I was like, why did I do that video? So I know coming up soon, um, I doubt I'll get much of the double masters too, just because the prices on that are ridiculous. Like, I'll probably do my usual and get a little bit of it, but maybe. I don't know. And, I know with in the next month, for the first little bit, Uprising for Flesh and Blood will finally be hitting the U.S. We'll be getting some of that, and then right after, I'll probably be done with some videos for that. Frontiers for Legion's Realms at War is right on the heels of that. So I'm legitimately very excited about both of those releases. And I know Genesis, I think their next set, Origins, I believe it is out before too long too. So I'll be looking at some of that too. So, there's definitely some excitement coming down. But there was just something about those videos, like, I really just the ones that I found with the bad audio, I just threw them out. And then the one that I recorded, I immediately threw out. I don't know. I felt like it just didn't feel right. And I know a couple people have talked a little bit about, hey, do some. I mean, I enjoy doing box openings, and for me, it helps facilitate kind of conversing a little bit, both to give something visual, me something to do with my hands, because just with the way my brain works, sometimes that helps. See a card and think about something about the card or about a different card, even, and go from there. Um, But sometimes, yeah, Samuel Graham does TCGs. I love TCGs. I have for a long time. I've talked about it a little bit on here, going back to mid mid 1990s, getting my first Star Wars CCG starter kit for my grandparents for Christmas, just as a hey, let's get this. That was it for a long time. I'd get a few. Somebody would be like, "Hey, can I give you this Pokemon card for the Star Wars card?" And I'd take some of that. Sure, why not? Whatever. Um, kind of dabbled into the Star Trek CCG a little bit too. Never quite as heavy as Star Wars though. Just because more people at school, were into Star Wars. Like that was the more mainstream, I guess, thing. Lord of the Rings movies came out, and that TCG came out from the same company that made Star Trek and Star Wars. So I was already kind of in the know that that was coming. And I, enjoyed the Lord of the Rings novels at that point, and so figured I would like the movie. I'll go see it, and then you know, over the years, the movies came out, revisited the books immediately, and my love for that franchise has just grown more and more over time. Like of those three games, that's the one. I've opened some Star Wars, I've opened some Star Trek. I still look at them, still, try and finish up some holes in sets, that kind of thing here and there. But Lord of the Rings is the one that, like, I have the biggest chunk of that I've picked up lately, and is the one that I play. Uh, maybe not regularly, but most frequently now. Um, and lulls here and there. Switched to miniatures games for a while. Star Wars miniatures, Hero Clicks. Um, came back to card games really with Star Wars Destiny and Transformers popping up at the same time. Then they died at the same time, and like within weeks of each other, it feels like it was the same summer anyway. Um, and then hit the big kerfuffle of the last couple of years, and found Flesh and Blood, found, all these other great games that are popping up now with Legions, with Genesis, with, started dabbling in Magic in that time, Pokemon with the little one. So lots of little stuff here and there. But I don't know. So this is kind of my second uh, attempt with content creation. And the first round of it back in, well, last year, I don't know exactly what's different about now and then. Maybe it's the variety because it was like all flesh and blood box openings at that point, more or less. Um, which it's been all box openings, but I've varied it up. But we've had Magic, we've had Pokemon, we've had Star Trek, we've had Wars TCG, we've had Legion's Realms at War, quite a bit of that. We've had a little bit of Genesis, like branching it out. Maybe the extra, it not all being one game that I was opening, maybe that's helped some. I mean, I feel like it almost certainly has, because good grief, seeing the Legion stuff, getting my spoiler card that I was able to reveal for that. Check out that video. That's a really cool card. Um, like all that different stuff, meeting different people, interacting with different people on here has been, I guess, a huge part of it too. Is just this time, I feel like I have kind of made relationships a little bit better, either between um, the guys at Vetflix and Chills, kind of coaxing me out of my shell a little bit. The constant support of different people, like the Scheming Skeleton, my new friend, who is a longtime friend of my wife's, Jordan Allen, who does some great. Actually, for real, check out his YouTube. He's got a lot of good movie related content. movie reviews, some, game and other reviews. But a big chunk of what he's got on is a pretty emotional, pretty epic tribute to uh, his brother that he lost pretty tragically just about 4 years ago now, just a little over 4 years. Um, and that's been discovering his content has been interesting to me. As a name that I've heard for the 15 years I've known my wife now, but actually kind of getting to know him through that a little bit has been painful, at times. Not because of the content, but because of the content. You know what I mean? The emotional content, the really digging into things. But man, he's got a lot of pretty potent things to say about life and about how we go about things, and I think it's immensely valuable. Um, he was playing through Kingdom Hearts 3, I guess, has been a big part of it, but that's kind of partially, I think, to draw people in for the real content, which is the emotional content, the talks. Um, so I don't know. Um, there's a lot of, like I say, those people, Jordan Allen, Scheming Skeleton, Vetflix and Chills, so many people that with so much good content um, that have also been extremely encouraging and supportive of me. I think that's made all the difference. Um, and I think it also put me in a headspace to be able to make a video like this instead of like sitting down and just doing cards. Um, kind of just chatting about chatting. We've talked cards a little bit. Cards are a whole lot of what I do, but it's not all cards. Um, got the family, like to read. Uh, all-purpose nerd, getting my keister kicked in fantasy baseball. I don't even like baseball, but fantasy sports are fun. Um, different stuff like that. Like, cards are cool, but it's not everything. And I've seen more and more people talking about that. And I think maybe that's ultimately why I didn't feel right about that video that I recorded earlier tonight. It just felt like this is a card video just to make a card video. And it's like I wanted to put a video out on schedule. I don't necessarily have patrons that are paying me, so that give me kind of that obligation or expectation of it. But I kind of have a schedule that I kind of want to keep. Um, but a different video. The card thing just wasn't feeling right for this video. So I feel like I've rambled a little bit, but especially for content creators out there, I guess. But really, everybody, with whatever you do for fun, whatever you enjoy, whatever your hobby, whatever it is. I didn't love that video earlier. I kind of love just sitting here chatting right now. Will I always not love a card video? No, absolutely. When when Frontiers comes out, you best believe I'll be ripping packs. When Uprising gets my doorstep, you best believe it. When Origins gets it, absolutely. Like all those games, I'll be ripping into a bunch of it. No question. But if you don't love the content, like if you don't feel like ripping pack, I was going through the motions. I was Wars TCG, another one that I liked back in the day. Um, I've done another video on it, and opened a box of it, and it's just, I love that game, but I was going through the motions doing it. So I guess just kind of pay attention. Are you really enjoying what you're doing? Sometimes, obviously, there are different things, that there are different obligations. You kind of just have to, okay, I have to do this. That happens, especially at a job, or like if, I understand people that have a Patreon that, kind of have a general expectation of what they're doing. I'm not there yet. Maybe eventually, we'll see. Who knows? But just the idea of making sure you are thinking through whether what you are doing is really you. Having this conversation is much more me than that video was. Even though I honestly, at this point, I've talked about some of the same things. But this one doesn't feel like I'm just going through the motions or doing that video just because that was the video I felt like I had to do, or a box opening or whatever else. Um, Here's a my face video, complete with a little Grogu t-shirt. On Wednesdays we wear pink, recording this late Wednesday night. Um, but yeah, it just felt right to have a different video. Just kind of talk through some things, not have cards in my hand, and just, if you're not feeling something, if that's not the video, if heck, tomorrow, if I needed to take a break, if you need to take a break, if you that video, if it's not going to come together, or you run out of time, something happens, there's an emergency, or you're just not there in your head, you got to worry about you, and what you love, what you're enjoying, what you're feeling. Um, so here is a very different, not quite TCGs video, um, but definitely I appreciate those of you. It's kind of longer than I actually intended to talk about this too. I originally had it thought to, all right, this one will be like a 10-minute video. I'm like 18 minutes now. But I don't know. It felt good anyway. So for those of you who are still here, still watching, still listening, I very much appreciate your time, as always. Um, this isn't the kind of content you're used to, so especially folks that are used to that, you may just kind of have bailed at this point, and that's fine too. I appreciate any time anyone gives me. I try not to take it for granted. I don't have any expectation from anyone that they have to listen to me ramble about TCGs, holding TCGs, staring at the camera and talking to it, any of that. I have no expectation that anybody owes me that. So I really appreciate anyone who did, and I hope that, I don't know if anybody else is kind of struggling. I'm not really struggling. This is a one-day thing. Like, I came back, I had some videos messed up. If those videos had been fine, I would have uploaded one and had that posted. So I guess I'm kind of glad it wasn't right. Because this is a whole different thing. I feel like this is a better and a more interesting conversation and avenue to me than uh, opening a Baldur's Gate bundle of Magic. So, again, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you later. Bye, y'all.